Thank you, Janey, for meeting me today to chat about Frank Get the Door.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great having worked on this book with you a bit. And it's a book of your First Minister lockdown voiceovers. So I want to know how you feel. How does it feel to see it at number 8 in the Times top 10 for hardback non-fiction?
It's unbelievable. And I mean, you did so much hard work on it, Jenny. I'm just a clown with a phone that talks too much. You actually did all the transcribing and did all that. That must have been quite a job. But I am over the moon that our project has become so popular.
I know, it's fantastic. I understand that the Star Bookshop sales are in Scotland, are the Waterstones in Silverburn and Inverness and Stirling. I'm wondering, have you been able to get into a bookshop yourself and seen it on the shelves at all?
No, I haven't, but lots of my friends on Facebook and Twitter have been sending me pictures, and just to see it on the bestseller list. My friend from London went, Obama at the top and you're number 8 with Frank Get the Door. I was like, you know, and I'm already writing a new novel for my publishers in London. And I was writing the novel as you were transcribing the Frank Get the Door. And I was like, this is a wee bit all too much. But it's lovely that it's making people laugh in such a really difficult time.
Oh, I think that's brilliant. And I mean, I was looking at your Janey Godley store. I think it's been selling well online there as well. And you've got that. You've got a Frank Get the Door advent calendar and a Frank Get the Door Christmas jumper.
Everything. I had to go up to the promotional warehouse and sit. I do it every week and assign the books, and it's literally a wall of books, and I'll look at them and go, I've got to sign all of them, and my signature really does get a bit shoddy, so I'm really sorry.
A poor signature. Well, you do mention in the introduction to it about Frank, who is behind the actual phrase. Can you tell us about that, because it's just such a great story, I think.
Well, Frank was a man who drank in my pub way back in the 80s. I had a pub called the Weavers Inn in McCalton in Glasgow, and Frank used to just sit in the corner and read a cowboy book, and he was just a big old man. And when anybody ever annoyed me, I'd shout, Frank, get the door. And he'd not even put his book down. He'd just open the door, hook it back, get the guy, fling him out, put his paper back in his pocket, get him out, shut the door and sit back down. And so it's based on that. But Frank originally appeared in Westminster with Theresa May when she did a resignation speech. That's where he originally appeared. So he's worked for Theresa May as well. And then there was that awesome period of when they were opening the Houses of Parliament and the Black Rod went up with a at the door. And it was live on BBC, and an SNP politician said, Frank, get the door, in the Houses of Parliament. My husband looked at me and went, what have you done? I was like, I don't know. But Frank's even been shouted out in the Houses of Parliament. And he originally was Theresa's. And he sometimes works on Boris's door as well. Frank always gets the door.
I read your autobiography and Hans Sands in the Dark. And I identified with it hugely in some ways. I mean, just in some. But one of the things was that when I was in my secondary school, I was sort of humiliated by the French teacher who got me to stand up and told me I didn't belong there because I was in such a mess. And one of the anecdotes you've got in there that really touched me because of that sort of slightly shared experience of being a manky wee girl was that when you describe that you won an art competition in your primary school, you went along to the headmaster's studies and you've won the art competition, and then he breaks it to you that actually you can't go up on the platform and receive the prize for the school because you don't have a school uniform.
Yeah.
Terrible, eh? The way
it's just awful. I mean, there are so many stories of people who are put down by teachers, yet have inspirational teachers. I mean, Dougie, who wrote the Booker Prize, Shuggie Bain, he recently thanked his teachers online. And I had good teachers as well. I had Miss Miller at my primary school and Mr. Burgess at my secondary school. So for every teacher that drags a child down, there's always one that lifts a child up. And that's the ones we have to focus on as well. But yeah, it's awful. I feel so awful for you that they did that to you. I mean, I don't understand why people would want to become teachers if they just want to hurt kids. I mean, that's just awful.
Well, but the thing is that happened after that in your story was that Miss Miller was having to take you back to the classroom, and she went, you know, don't you worry, Janey, don't you be sad. One day you'll be out there on the stage and audiences will be clapping and roaring. That was an amazing sort of
yeah,
thing.
she had such. Well, I used to write short stories in the class. We all did as part of our English composition. She would set us a task to write a short story, and you look a bit like Miss Miller.
Oh well,
you do look like her. You've got the same. I've got a very brilliant visual memory, and she had short hair, she had big glasses, and she had a nice wee face, and she was very very calm. She was a very calm woman, and she used to set us a task to write short stories, as all primary school children. It's not like a whole book. It was like maybe 3 pages, and I would write these short stories. And she knew that I was having a hard time. And I remember her coming round beside me and bending down, and she said to me, you know, your short stories are absolutely wonderful. I had some friends round last night and we read the stories out and everybody loved yours the most. And I remember feeling so full of glow and hope at that. And what a wonderful thing to do, to nurture and encourage that child. And when we walked out of that headmaster's office, I can still feel her hand holding mine. She was taking my hand back to the class. She was so angry. I could feel her rage. And she was a young woman in the 60s. So you can imagine the patriarchy that she had to go through. And she was a beautiful, she did look like you should, dark hair, glasses, a nice wee face. She was very slim. She wore like a plain coloured jumper and a long skirt and a wee pair of shoes. And she was very composed, and she had a big smile. I remember she had a big smile, and she leaned right down to eye level and she went, don't you let this get you down. One day you're going to be up there on a stage and people are going to listen to your stories and they're going to clap and cheer, and your artwork is wonderful. Don't you let them do this to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I never really took it, and I was like, okay, you're quite, all I knew was my teacher was quite angry, and it upset me that my favourite teacher was angry. And she instilled that absolute core of self-belief in me. And that's a wonderful thing for teachers to do.
Yeah, it is. And I think that that's the thing that comes over really in all your stuff, really, is the sense that how we can really sort of support each other. That's a really important thing in life, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, especially during coronavirus, a lot of people's mental health is suffering. And I think it's important people like me who are perceived as strong all the time. I mean, I break down and cry at least 2 or 3 times a week. And my mental health is really stretched like everybody else's. And I think it's important that we share that information, because I think that this thing that we have to be happy, we have to be strong, is detrimental to the well-being of people. It's okay to feel really rubbish, and it's okay to break down and cry. We don't always have to be happy. We can just be okay, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you actually about that thing about not being happy. I think it's actually a very, I don't know, it makes you feel as if you're wrong if you're not happy. Whereas it's in the nature of life, because it's always going to be full of tragedy as well as great things. That,
it's like a Disneyland feeling. It's that Disneyland. We've got to be happy, we've got to be good, we've got to keep up, we've got to stay strong, we've got to... That's exhausting. It's okay to feel really bad. So it's all right to feel unhappy. It's okay to feel anger, and it's okay to feel a range of emotions. This is, you know, if you're depressed, you're bad, you're letting everybody down. It's a really negative thing to say to people. And I think it's important for positive, strong feelings to come out and say, I don't feel great, you know?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, you know, humour, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, just being humorous often comes out of hard times, and I'm wondering, what are there other comedians or just, you know, what keeps your spirits up when you're under pressure?
Music. I don't watch a lot of comedy, and I don't buy into the belief that all comedy comes from tragedy. No, it doesn't. There's lots of people with very happy upbringing and have great comics. I think shadow and light is important in everything, whether it be salt and sweet in food, whether it be shadow and light in books, whether it be dark music, light music. But what picks me up is I play music. I listen to audiobooks, which you can get free on your library. Nobody has to buy them. You can join your local library, which I'm very supportive of, and you can get remote books audio onto your phone. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I am not a big TV or comedy fan. I don't sit and watch comedy. I enjoy listening to books and listening to music and getting out a walk with my wee sausage dog, who has been quite badly behaved during this. She's great all day. Then the minute the camera's like, oh, I need attention. I'm like, shall I show you her?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Come on, honey. Come on, say hello to everybody. Come on, say hello to everybody. Who wants to see wee honey? Hello, everybody.
Hello, wee honey.
It's wee honey bunny. She's a wee rehome and we love her. And she gets treated like a princess, don't you?
Oh,
she likes to try and put her snout right into my mouth to shut me up when she's doing that.
Oh, you don't say that. She's just giving you a kiss.
She's a good wee girl.
So
I get a lot of me time with Honey Bunny. She likes to be the star, so you're not allowed to see me. You can only see Honey. I'll put her down. There you go. There you go, wee honey. Then she'll tap dance about the floor.
I was, another thing that I was interested. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you, what sort of music is it you're into?
I like all sorts of genres of music. I like classical music. I like Steely Dan. I like rap. I like Beyonce. I like lots. There's not one. Yeah, I could happily listen to Fleetwood Mac and then Kelly Clarkson and then Meatloaf. And then, you know, all the Bond themes done as a Philharmonic orchestra.
Yeah, no, and you've written, you've written some sort of like mini dramas for the National Theatre of Scotland. And they're exploring sort of issues like domestic violence and loneliness and things like that. And I think these issues are known to have become quite a lot worse, sadly, during the pandemic. And so I would take it that your belief is that theatre is not just for escapism, but it's for sort of, you know, maybe it could be a platform for real change. I wonder what you would have to say about theatre.
Well, we're doing Alone 3 and 4. I've already recorded number 3. I'm about to record number 4. And it's about coercive control. And that can affect males and females, but it's coming from a female perspective. And I think it's important that drama has a message, but equally I think drama can be fantasy as well. I'm not one of these folk that go, every play has to be serious. They don't. I love a farce as much as anybody, but the way my brain worked when they asked me to write a piece, that was what came out. And I have a history of coercive control, and as you know, my mum was coercively controlled by a man and she ended up losing her life. So these issues are important to me, but equally they were quite funny as well. I made them funny and dark, light and dark at the same time.
So I was wondering, where did you first get the idea of doing voiceovers? What was that? Where did that come from?
Well, Ashley, my daughter and I, who's also a stand-up comedian and broadcaster, we've been doing this for years. We sat with the television on and we watched what we did at the day. There was a Charlton, it wasn't Charlton Heston, was it Charlton? There was a film on today, an old black and white film, and Butt Lancaster, and it was set in the 60s, and a man that just swam in pools, and then at the end he died.
I know that film. Yeah.
Her and I were voicing over, like, oh, it's freezing, we can't get into this house. And it was like, Gunny, somebody gave Butt a towel, he's chilly. So we've been sitting voiceover films for like 12, 13 years. We do it during the day when we get up and we put the TV on, and the two is just sit and talk over the top of a film. And then I took it a step further. I've been doing voiceovers online, viral, way before the First Minister stuff. I did it 3 years ago. And of course, that became the basis of the Soot Pot tour, where I did live voiceovers on stage, and I toured England and I toured Scotland with it.
Oh, that's great. So why did you focus particularly on animals and politicians? I mean, with some politicians you cannot, you know what I mean? It's an insult.
Yeah, I did focus on that because I think politicians are infinitely boring, so they need somebody to give them a voice, because it's just blah, blah, blah. So it's best I talk over that. And I loved Johnny Morris as a wee girl. I used to watch Animal Magic, and it was wee animals talking. And there's nothing makes me laugh more than animals talking. It is my thing. So I'll get wee Honey and give her a wee carrot and make her mouth move, and then I'll make her talk. Makes me die with laughter. And then there's wee beavers punching each other in the throat. There's two cats having a fight. There's two big birds being gossips. There's a bird that opens its feathers and go, pick a card. I love that. That's my favourite thing.
It seems like your stuff about the pandemic, people have taken it in the right way. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon must be quite a good sport, really, because she's sort of...
she is. I think that what I was doing was I was revoicing the message for coronavirus. I was her anger translator. So when she was saying, like, if you could all just stay in the house, and I'm like, stay in the house! Don't make me come out there and put my toe up the crack of your behind. So I was just making it a wee bit more exaggerated. And people found that funny. So weirdly, I talk and people laugh sometimes. So who knew that was a thing?
Janey, if someone was to do voiceover for your life, who would that be then? Who would you pick?
Ashley. She knows me better than anybody.
She would do it. Yeah. So I don't know anything about your new book either. Can you tell me something about that? The new one that you're going to publish?
All I can tell is it's set in 2 time zones. It's set in the 70s and it's set in present day. That's all I'm allowed to say.
And is it fiction?
Yes.
Is it? Or,
yes.
Yeah, it's actually fiction.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Fiction.
So, do you feel yourself to be a writer now? Is it?
No. I had to write that whole book during coronavirus lockdown, and it was the hardest thing I think I've ever done. And trying to get all those words out. No, I don't see myself as a writer. No, I'm a stand-up comedian. I like painting and I make badgers talk funny. So, but, you know, apparently I'm quite a good writer. So there you go. That's the thing. I'm also an actor. I'm also an artist. I'm also really good at dressing up my wee sausage dog. So I don't know if I'm any one thing, but I mean, the publishers are you know, they've said things like, we would like another book. I'm like, really? I've got to do that all over again? So, frightening. I had huge imposter syndrome. I've got huge imposter syndrome. I keep thinking one day they're going to find out I'm not a writer or a comedian or an artist. I'm just an over-friendly cleaner that talks too much.
I was just, so just to sort of finish up, I was going to say about wee Honey the dog. So, I mean, you've also said she's a Tory, which is very surprising. But
yeah, I've made her a Tory.
How's she going to spend Christmas then?
Yeah, she has no idea. She thinks she's just a wee dog, but I get her to pretend she's a Tory. She's like, well, I like Boris Johnson, just for conflict. I think it's funny that I'm this big political SNP supporter and my wee dog's an actual Tory who's like, I don't like you. You've annoyed me. Boris is like a beautiful angel and I follow all his words. It's just like the idea of that there's that conflict. She's the idea. Just give her a bit of chicken and she'd be anybody.
All right, so at Christmas you can just bribe her with chicken and she can tell you what she thinks about Santa Claus.
Literally, Honey hates the entire world. She's a rehome dog that is very nervous and anxious. She doesn't like many people. She doesn't like anybody but me, my husband and Ashley. And if anybody tries to approach her, she gets really barking or ow, 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 ow. If a man dressed as the dog catcher with a sign saying dog catcher had a basket for a dog and then a bit of chicken, Honey would go to him. So are you a dog catcher and you get chicken? You're my friend. As soon as the chicken's done, she's back to being a Tory and arguing with you. You can bribe her with food. Can be a nippy old cow. And I love that about her. I love that she's getting me compromised. I think she's got my personality. Like any dog. I
think it's great. Are you going to keep on doing the lockdown voiceovers as long as they go on? Is that how you feel?
And we do live streams Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Facebook. We speak to we get 1,000 people come in and we all just sit and chat for like 15-20 minutes on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. As long as people keep listening, as long as people keep reading, as long as people keep enjoying it, I'll keep doing it.